Alright guys, I'm going to start my C++ random number generator tutorial. So go and open our IDE here, which is Visual Studio. We'll create a new project. It'll be a C++ empty project. I'll go ahead and put it in my folder that I've been using for this channel. And it will be random number generator. Oops. Sorry, we're just going to select this folder. Random number generator. Okay. Let's go ahead and add our CPP file. Random number generator is what I will call this CPP file. And we're going to need to include some headers at the top of our CPP file in order to create our random number generator. So hashtag include or pound include IO stream. So we have input output stream library. We're going to need to hashtag include the C standard library. There's a couple ways to put this. You can do STL, SC. Anyway, you can do it like this: C standard library, or another way is std library.h, and this will allow us to have access to the rand function and the seed rand function. And then, well, let's just leave that for now. So let's go ahead and create our entry point for our program, which will be our main function. Let me see why this is not working. One failed. Oh, gotta take out the C. There we go. Control Shift B. Okay. So I do all my tutorials live. I don't, that way you can see me mess up and I'll troubleshoot it and you guys can see where I mess up and see if see how I fix it. So let's go ahead and create our random number generator. In the world of C++, there's a function in this library, which is why we included it, called rand. So this will create a random number generator that this would create a random number that we would see. So we're going to use our console output to, we need to do, there's a couple ways we can do cout. You can do std colon cout std colon, this is referring to the standard library, and this will work. They'll generate a random number 41. Or this is easier, using namespace standard, and what that does is it just replaces the need to use these for your input output stream operators. And that's going to generate 41 again. I will get into why that's doing that in just a second. So let's go ahead and throw this in a for loop, and you can really see this in action. So we'll do a for loop. Int I is pretty much the standard. I let's do 25. I plus plus, and we'll go ahead and put what it will generate. Rand. And here we go. So it generates, oh, we can see our same 41 there. And it just generates, which pretty much looks like a bunch of random numbers. If we wanted to put rand in a range so we don't have these large numbers, let's just say we were doing like a dice game. That's the most simple concept most people can understand. What we do is we would use the modulus operator and 6, since there's 6 possible outcomes of rolling a dice. And what the modulus operator is in C++, it means you divide whatever that number is, which would be this random number, you would divide by 6 and spit out the remainder. So whenever we run this, I'll go ahead and run it. The only possible outcome is 0 through 5. So 0 being 0 through 5, so one of 6 outcomes, even though it's 0 through 5. Because if you just divide by 6, it would be 1. There would be no remainder. So you're like, well, how, a dice, you can't roll a 0 on dice. So how would you fix that? There's a couple ways. You can do a +1. So what that does is it'll kind of shift the random number generators. It'll generate a number between 0 through 5 and just add a 1 to it. So the possible outcomes go from 0 to 5 to 1 through 6. See, 6, no zeros, we have a 1 there. And then, of course, you can do order of operations if you, I've seen guys do this. One plus that. Same thing. But we'll go back to the first way. But you probably noticed whenever I did this, whenever I hit Control F5 and compile this, we're not getting random numbers. Look, 6, 6, 5, 5, 6, 5, 1, 1, 5, 3, 6. Okay, so let's say we just ran this for the first time. It looks pretty random at first, okay? We ran our program, and it looks like it's generated these random numbers 1 through 6. But what happens is, if we run it again, look at that. It's still our same pattern: 6, 6, 5, 5, 6, 6, 5, 1, 1. It's not generating truly random numbers. So you're like, well, maybe it's just not generating truly random. If we did, modulus 20 plus 1, so this would give us results normally 0 through 19, but I'm adding, if we just had this, it would be 0 through 19, but I'm adding 1, so we're having 1 through 20. So this would give us random numbers between 1 and 20, okay? So I'm going to run this again. So here's our random numbers. I'm using air quotes, our random numbers: 2, 8, 15, 1, 10, 5, 9, 18. Okay, that looks pretty random first time we run it. Look at these first 4 numbers: 2, 8, 15, 1. If we run this again, it'll be the same damn thing: 2, 8, 15, 1, 10, 5. So it's the same thing. So what exactly is going on? In the world of computers are not like humans. They can't just randomly come up with a number. A computer, at the end of the day, it's a machine. It runs off ones and zeros, which is basically either electrical input is on or electrical input is off. So the computer itself runs as an algorithm. So it's not truly random. This random number generator thing this function is a quote-unquote makes a random number based off of an internal algorithm that's running for the computer. But so it's a quasi-random number, but it's not really in the mind of a human person, where if I told you randomly tell me numbers 1 through 6, they would just pop in your head and you say 5, 1, 4, 5, 4, 4, 5, 1. You just kind of come up with different numbers. The computer can't do that. But there's a way around it. This is why we need this srand item. So what this does is, let's go back to our dice example, because that's the easiest. We're back to just getting numbers 1 through 6. This random number, this srand, stands for seed random number. So what that does, it's a function, and normally whenever you want to include this to generate random numbers, you want to put it towards the top of your main program. I'll get into this in other tutorials, but every C++ program will have a main function, which is the entry point to your overall program. And I've always heard it, and I've always used it as putting the seed random number generator, or the seed random function at the top. And in order to I'll show you an example here. We can put the seed random number generator, and before I run this, I'll comment it out real quick. All this does is just makes this line. The computer program will not. I can see it, but when the computer compiles, it'll skip this. Okay, let's say I'm going to go ahead and run it. So look at our pattern, 66556. Okay, the seed random number generator, what it's going to do, it's going to modify that original random number generator. I'm just going to put I guess a random number here, 99, popped in my head. So whenever I run it, 24461. So it's a different pattern, obviously, than what we had. So, okay, well, it looks like it's fixed, right? Well, not exactly. It's still going to do the same thing. I just seeded it with a different place to start. I can go here and put, 68 and hit Control F5. It's 3411. Okay, so it's different than 99, but when we run it again, okay, it's still not giving us a random number, a truly random number. So there's another way that C++ developers have come up to work around this, and that is including the time function in C++. So in order to do that, we need to include another header file, which is the time library. I don't know if it's called time. Anyway, it's just a library. It's a header file that allows you to add time to your program. And what we're going to do is we're going to seed this random number generator with time. And for the time value, time is actually a function. You need to put 0 here, or another thing people do is they put null. You don't really want to put, let's just try. Okay, let's don't put anything in there. Yeah, it won't build. So you can either put 0 and it'll build, or people put null. Either one. I've seen it work with both. So what's going to happen, what time is a function that it's defined in this time.h header file, and the function returns the time since, let me write this out, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, which is, I don't know why they came up with this date. I had a professor in a C++ class joke. It was like the countdown since the doomsday date or something like that. He was kind of a disgruntled old Boeing engineer. Guy was super cool, super funny. But that time generator is the amount of seconds since January 1st, 1970. And you're like, how the hell does the computer know where to pull that? Well, it actually pulls off your clock down here. It's this whole time while this thing is ticking away, it's ticking this many seconds on this date. It's doing the calculation of this date from this date plus all these seconds that tick by. So you can see this thing is constantly changing as we basically speed away from January 1st, 1970, was it midnight 01, January 1st, 1970, all the way to Monday, December 23rd, 2019 at 5:08:33 p.m. Central Time, where I'm at, and it will pull that number right into here. And so as you can see, every time I call or I run this program, it's pulling a truly random number in there. Well, not random. It looks random. It's still, there's a pattern. So we can get a philosophical debate about what's truly random, but it will continually pull in a different number in here to generate this, to then pull into this other algorithm to spit out what our random number will be here. So let's go ahead and run it. So as you can see, as I run it, we got 4, 4, 2, 1, 6, 2, 4, 5. Okay. We're gonna run it again. 3, 3, 3, or 3, 3, 2, 5, 2, 3, 4, 2. Cool. All right, let's run a couple more times. We have a random number generator that is simulating rolls of dice. And you might be saying, well, how do let's say a guy or gal's rolling two pairs of dice, 2 dice, 24 times or 25 times. What would that look like in a function? So I'm going to expand this for loop. And the best way to do this, you actually don't want to do. You want to run this twice, each time representing. You don't want to do. You'd say, well, he's rolling. It's going to be a number total between 1 through 12. It will, but you don't want to put 12 plus 1 in here because that will give us, it'll just give us stuff that we don't need. It'll give us an 8. What you want to do is 2 sets of, you can say dice roll 1. Dice roll 2. That kind of gives us a little bit more, that's hard on the eyes. So anyway, it'll give us a truly random roll of each dice when the guy or gal rolls it. And then you can add them together too. I won't get into that in this program, but let's do a couple more examples for you. Okay, let's say you want to do different ranges. Let's do let's do a random number generator divided by 100. And this, of course, will give us numbers ranging from 0 to 99. Clean this up a little bit. So that gives us random numbers, 25 of them, ranging 0 to 99. So we got our random numbers. And let's say we want to do ranges 1 to 100. All we would do, of course, is just add a 1 here. That way we get, what this does is it does our range of 0 to 99 and just shifts everything by 1. So we can't get up to 100. There we got a couple hundreds in there. And then let's say you want to do you have people, you want to generate random birth dates between 1985 and 2014. Okay, so let's say in that 30-year range, you want to see who was born. So the best way to do that is take a random number generator, and it's a 30-year range of people being born, starting in the year 1985. Okay. And what this will do is it will generate random birthday years between generate random birth years between 1985 and 2014. So there you go. do it one more time. All right, thank you for watching. Like, share, subscribe, hit the like button. I really appreciate everything.